Good day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at what you should be doing at the start of Season 2 of the War Within. Now obviously before we talk about Undermined, new content and things that have been added in, there are still the usual weeklies players will experience throughout the course of the War Within. The same pinnacle caches you've been doing, the Awakening the Machine, the Radiant Chest, the Ashkahet faction, all still count, all still drop great rewards, all still give you restored coffer keys. Catalyst charges are still the same under a different name, which you'll get bi-weekly. Spark of Fortune fragments are the same, obtained in the same way. Of course, again, obtained one per week. And then, of course, you still have your regular weekly event. So your World Soul Quest, your weekly event for maybe completing 5 Time Warp dungeons, etc. All of this remains the same, so none of this really has changed from Season 1 to Season 2. There's no revamp, there's no nothing. Some of them have been renamed conceptually, but generally speaking for most players, this part of the game remains the same as it was for Season 1. So you'll still find yourself doing these. You might do a lot of them inside Undermined, but you'll still have an incentive, especially for the pinnacle caches and things like that. Now, in terms of Undermined content, there's quite a bit that you can actually do. You have your 3 weekly quests for doing jobs, the Surge Prizing event, and the Scrapping event. All of these will net you 1 weekly cache, basically. You then also have your Special Operation, which you can access after completing 3 world quests. You have scrap farming, so you can just continue farming scrap for mounts, rewards, pets, etc. Side gigs, which are very different types of dailies that you can go and do for a lot of renown. Side quests, which are available obviously throughout the course of the campaign until you do them. And then the main campaign, which I suggest all players do and complete, as it unlocks a ton of great rewards and it's just not too bad. I actually thought it was a pretty good kind of little story update. Obviously, aside from that, you can just kind of drive around and pretty much do jobs the whole time. You may want to consider rare farming, you may want to consider finding treasures. Jobs are also a pretty cool thing to do to pass the time. You can pick up some decent valuable resources that way. So there is a lot to do. There's 2 new delves, etc. It's not like there wasn't any content added in the Undermined. It's quite packed full of content. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually quite fine. But this should be what you focus on pretty much, especially the main quest. Like I said, it gets you the unlock story mode, which is super helpful. So I highly suggest you do it. Next, we'll look about raiding. So raiding is not for everyone, but my suggestion this season is that you definitely should be raiding, even if it's just Raid Finder, because there's a weekly lockout for 2 renown with the Galagio Loyalty Rewards Club. And if you are able to get them to max, you can get some pretty cool stuff, including mounts. So it's an incentive even for non-raid players. You'll also want to obviously do the story mode to get the Enchanted Crest. As I mentioned before, you'll have to complete the main quest with the faction, at least part 1, so that you can gain access to the quest in story mode. I've done a video on it, I'll leave a link to it. And then finally, once you've done all of that, or maybe you're just looking for a new challenge, you can of course pug Heroic and Mythic. Obviously, if you're starting from a scratch base, my suggestion would be, or you can't find a group, or you're busy right now, my suggestion would be to run the LFR, get the bosses down, get your Galagio Loyalty Rewards Club up, and you should be good to go. Similarly, Mythic Plus has been revamped again. Some modifiers have been dropped and some have been adjusted to make life a little bit easier. Mythic Zeros are dropping 639 gear, I believe, and all of them are looking really quite good. I actually think the Mythic Zero gears may be too good, but it's great to gear up through Mythic Zero right now. You can pretty much get your character almost to the low 40s if you just invest properly and pick up 1 or 2 items elsewhere. So 640s, pretty good stuff. Obviously, the incentive with Mythic Plus is also new modifiers, a new Mythic Plus mount rating, and obviously new dungeon rotations. So some older dungeons coming back, like the Motherlode, etc. So obviously there is some incentive still beyond, just like running Mythic 0 for gear. There is still some incentive for doing so. But before you run Mythic 0, let's talk about delves. So delves are still probably the best content they've added in with War Within. I think it's still pretty much the best mechanics ever. What you should focus on this season is leveling Brand to level 80, his new cap, farming the new track rewards, so completing bountiful delves, getting new relics to flesh out Brand's tree. You can try a whole bunch of the older delves and you will have a new story variant of each one, which helps a lot for variety of life. Spice of life, they say, is variety. And then obviously it's great for gearing. Like, I know the other events are also great for gearing if you have a great group, but this is great for gearing solo. So this is probably one of the better, easier ways to do so. In terms of crafting changes, there isn't too much. I'll go into more detail about the crafting changes at another time, because I do think it is something that is important to discuss in more detail. But for now, you can reset your knowledge and pick up some more knowledge from Pack's Top Skimmer, which I think, for the most part, players could piece and put together 2 and 2. But yeah, so that obviously kind of covers that portion. There's 2 kind of sections left that I do need to talk about though. So we have first PvP. Now, I don't play a lot of PvP. I've always threatened to get into it and I never do. I might try this season though. PvP brings with it a new arena mount based on your progress in the rating system. A very cool mount, I might add, because I think it looks excellent. And new track rewards as well. So obviously a whole bunch of other transmog and really cool rewards. The season's been reset, so it's a better time than ever to start getting into PvP. Maybe you'll get caught in the melee, maybe you'll get caught in the middle, maybe you'll be able to catch some other people that have also had the same process and are trying to start just like you. Now, in terms of the final stuff to touch on here, there's a couple activities that any player can do realistically to kind of start fleshing out their character. Maybe you're not super into raiding or dungeons or farming high gear. There is still mount farming. Each faction of the cartels each has a mount, so farming their renown and farming the quests for their faction, the side quests and everything is super important, especially if you're going to be looking to kill some time. You can farm renown with each cartel, obviously, and then we have also obviously the drive gear farming. Now, drive is a new function. It's like a land version of Dragonflight. It's a hugely quick variation of getting to places. However, you do have to be a little bit careful in terms of drive gear, because it can pop up from all over the place. So yeah, you don't really want to focus in on anything like that. That's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you're having any issues, or just let me know in general what you are looking forward to the most in Season 2. I myself really am looking forward to the delves. I think it's the best mechanic that they've introduced in the season and in general in a long time. But yeah, that's it for me. See you next time. Bye.